Stir your cauldron well, chant your words and sing your spell.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Purple Broom Apothecary. I'm your host Natalie. Today I am adding to the herb cabinet series, and I thought that in light of all the illnesses going around, I would choose an herb that's a favorite for witches. It's also a favorite of herbalists, I have found, because of its many health benefits. It is an herb that is high in antioxidants. It's actually a fruit, but we call it an herb. We use it as an herb, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But in light of this very virulent strain of flu that's going around this year, and now we have coronavirus on top of that, I do want to take this moment to remind you that the Herb Cabinet series is for your information and practice only, okay? I don't intend any part of this to replace true Western medicine, okay? So if you think you are sick, go and get checked out. But an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that's what this will do for you. So today I am talking about elderberries. Now these are dried elderberries that my daughter got for me for Christmas from Star West Botanicals. You can order them from... You can order this from Amazon, actually. Star West Botanicals sells on Amazon. You can also get them from Mountain Rose Herbs. And I love Mountain Rose Herbs. They just tend to be kind of pricey. So let me show you what elderberries look like. This is what dried elderberries look like, okay? And they're not very big. I mean, I'll take a single one out here. So once they're dried, they're not very big. This is not a great color picture, and I apologize, but my printer is not working right in terms of the color ink. I think it's running low. But this is what elderberries look like. So they sort of look something like a grape. Now, the problem with that is that they are bright purple in color, and they also look a lot like pokeberries. So know that the elderberry tree has a yellow or white flower. You want to be very, very familiar with any kind of plant before you just go and pull it off and take it. Elderberries do grow here in the United States, and I think they grow around the world, but you don't want to just go wildcraft something if you're not absolutely 100% certain of what it is. So I would recommend just buying the dried herb, because you can reconstitute it in water and use it for a lot of different purposes. So elderberries are known as the fruit of the divide, okay? They traverse that distance between the physical and spiritual realm. They're kind of a dichotomatic sort of herb, because they're used to banish spirits and evil, as well as to summon spirits and evil, and it's used in curses as well, but it's also used in protective magic. It is associated with the goddess Hol, H-O-L-L-E, or Hala. And, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure where she comes from. I should have probably looked that up before I did this video, but oh well, it's late in the afternoon. I had work all day, and I have to work tomorrow, and I have reports to do, so you're getting what you're getting. But she was a goddess who is known to guard the underworld. She protects those who are traveling between the worlds. So oftentimes people would put elderberry twigs in caskets or with people who are being buried, so that they would be, or include them in the funeral pyre, so that they would have her blessing and her protection as they traveled into the next world. Elderberry twigs are also used as protection for your home. So you can hang a twig of elderberries or dried elderberries on a branch above a door. I use them in my witch balls. Talked about this on Witches of the Moon. I use them in my witch balls for protection. I mix them with rosemary, which I happen to have some of that right here too. Rosemary. But they are very well known for the multiple health benefits, because they are high in antioxidants, and they do have natural properties which make it antibacterial, antifungal, those sorts of things. I'm not sure if it's antifungal actually, but I do know it is antibacterial. So I'm going to show you guys a recipe this afternoon on how you can use elderberries to create a syrup that you can take to kind of protect your health a little bit. We'll talk about that. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the magical properties of elderberry before I get into that. People would take elderberry branches and make a crown, and that was used for seeing spirits. The elderberry tree has a very protective dryad. The dryad of the elderberry tree was known to hunt people down and curse them vociferously and strongly if they mistreated the elderberry tree. Now, another interesting thing about the elderberry tree is that the roots are hollow, but they're very, very strong. And same thing with the branches. The branches are very, very strong on the outside, but they have a very malleable, kind of soft inside, so they can be easily hollowed out, and then you can put holes in it and use it like a woodwind instrument. So you could make flutes or things like that out of it, and they're very useful for that as well. So I would think that making a wand out of one would be very powerful, right? The branches are often also used. They're associated with marriage and the blessing of marriage. So to be married under an elderberry tree was considered very good luck, or to have elderberry branches kind of hung over you was considered to be very good. But it is also used for banishing spirits and calling spirits. So elderberry is a very diverse herb, and we utilize the branches, the flowers, the bark, and the berries. Now, I will say, if you are pregnant or nursing, consult with your physician before you take any type of herbal supplement. Elderberries are known to be safe during pregnancy, but you don't want to use red or unripe elderberries because they can cause diarrhea and severe intestinal upset, which can actually be harmful to the pregnancy. So, going back to the general health benefits of elderberries, they are known as a very powerful immune system booster. So you could use it to bring health to someone. You can brew it in a tea. They're very, very flavorful. And what I'm going to show you guys today is how to make an elderberry syrup. Now, you're thinking that doesn't look very much like a syrup, right? It's a liquid. It's very soft. I mean, it's not like thick like a syrup. You can make it thicker, but I use this, and I just take a teaspoon of this, or just take a swig straight out of the jar. It's actually pretty good. You can add it to drinks. You can add it to teas. I take it by the tablespoon. I take 2 tablespoons. For kids, 1 tablespoon. You can, if you want to put a little extra honey in here and make it a little thicker, you can actually pour it over pancakes. You can add it to other drinks, teas, coffees, sodas, things like that. It is very tasty, very good. And I'm going to show you guys how to make that. So, in order to make elderberry syrup, you are going to need a cup of elderberries. And actually, you could probably just use a half a cup. They're pretty strong, so, you'll want a half cup. So you'll fill up your half cup of elderberries with your dry elderberries, right? If you really want to kick in the flavor and the antibacterial properties of it, you could add echinacea to it. And I would just use like a tablespoon of echinacea. And what you're going to do, you're going to need elderberries, you're going to need a measuring cup, you're going to need, pick one or the other. You're going to need honey. And I like raw, unfiltered honey straight from the bee, and local. If you're going to use unprocessed honey, which I highly recommend, I do recommend that you use a local honey. The reason being is that unprocessed honey is great because it's better for you, right? But also, if you get locally made unprocessed honey, it's going to contain all of the allergens that are local to your area. So it allows your body to build up an immunity to the allergens that are in your area. So you'll find that a lot of your allergies kind of clear up. But you're going to need a cup of raw unprocessed honey, or just honey of any kind. And of course, you're going to need an empty jar. I use the Bertolli's Rustic Cut marinara jars. These are great, by the way. You can use, by the way, the marinara sauce is really good too. But you can use any jar, really. And you can make as much of this as you want or not. I'm going to show you how to make about 1 jar full. So this is, looks like 16 ounces, okay? That can't be 16 ounces. I guess it is. 4 ounces, 8 ounces, 12 ounces, 16 ounces, I guess so, because when I made it, it filled it up to about here on the jar. So you can see this jar is about halfway gone. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take about a half a cup of elderberry. If you're going to make double, you can make a cup of elderberry, but it doesn't take that much. Oh, by the way, elderberries, like pokeberries, make a wonderful ink or dye as well. That is one use I forgot to mention. You boil these in a little bit of water, and it's going to make a beautiful, I mean, you can see how rich that color is, how dark and purpley that is. So it makes a wonderful magical ink as well. So you can use it for banishing, you can use it for cursing, you can use it for protection spells. It's great. Anyway, you're going to get your pokeberries, your elderberries, and you're going to put them into your measuring cup. And what you're going to do is you're going to get some cheesecloth. At least I use cheesecloth. You can use a coffee filter, but I really like cheesecloth because you can squeeze the heck out of it. But you probably will not be able to reuse it unless you're going to use it for more elderberries. But anyway, I use cheesecloth, and what you'll do is you'll just cut out, however much you think you're going to need. So maybe about, a square and a half, like midway through here, to make like a pouch. Like I said, you may find using a coffee filter easier. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your elderberries into the cheesecloth and make like a sack and tie it off, or you can use a twisty tie. If you're going to use echinacea, put it in there with your elderberries, okay? You're going to put the elderberries into the filter, close it off, your cheesecloth or your coffee filter, and then you're going to take about a cup and a half of water, just plain water, and you're going to put your elderberry pouch into the water, and you're going to let that boil till it boils down and reduces to about 1 cup total. So you start with a cup and a half, you boil it down to 1 cup, then you're going to put 1 cup of honey. You're going to put the hot liquid in here. Now, some people will tell you that you want to wait until it cools. I have found that that is not a good way to do it. Once it starts to boil and it reduces down to about 1 cup, so it reduces by about a half a cup, you are going to, Pinto Bean, you better stop it, buddy. You're going to pour your hot elderberry liquid into your jar. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your honey and you're going to put 1 cup of honey. So it's 1 cup of water to 1 cup of honey. If you want to make it a little thicker, then use a cup and a half to 2 cups of honey for 1 cup of hot liquid, elderberry liquid. If you want to, and that'll make actually a little bit more too, but it'll make it thicker so it's more like a syrup. And then what you'll do is you'll just stir in the honey and mix it in really good so that you have a nice little liquid there. Okay, and then you would take, I believe the dosage is 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons per day per adult, and 1 tablespoon for children 12 and under. But, like I said, you can add that to anything. You can put it in coffee, you can put it in tea. Elderberries make a wonderful tea. I love to make elderberry tea with elderberries, echinacea, a little bit of chamomile. I use chamomile a lot as a base for a tea. Or you can brew some Earl Grey tea and add a little bit of this, like a teaspoon of this, and it makes a wonderful flavored tea that helps you to relax. It's a natural immune booster, like I said, so you don't have to, be fearful. I mean, you want to be cautious, obviously. Wash your hands, cover your mouth, and all of that good stuff. However, I will tell you that I usually get allergies, and although my allergies have been bothering me, usually this time of the year I have no voice for about a week to 2 weeks, and doing this with the echinacea, I haven't had a problem. So you can make it thicker and pour it over pancakes. You can do a lot of different things with it, but elderberry is very, very popular. It's very flavorful. It's really good. If you haven't tried it, you need to. And then, like I said, you can also use it to make a wonderful ink. And I may redo my video on magical inks where I talk about that a little bit more. I kind of demonstrate how to make an ink. When you're making an ink, you're going to mix it with an alcohol. And I would recommend a high-proof vodka, actually. Usually works really well. And you're going to basically kind of boil this in to your vodka, and You add a few other things to it, and I have a video somewhere in here on how to make magical inks. So you would use the same process for that. You would just use elderberries as your base. So like your pokeberry ink, you can shake it. But anyway, that is my video on elderberries. I hope that I provided you with a little bit of information. It's got a wide variety of uses. This will last in your fridge for about 6 months, so I would recommend labeling it. I've had this one for about a month and a half because I got the elderberries for Christmas and then I didn't even use them for like a month. So this is about a month and a half old, but you can see it, we're already halfway down it. So, but I do recommend labeling it. What is it? And the dosage if you want, as well as the date that you made it, because after about 6 months you want to go ahead and check it out. There isn't really a preservative in it other than the own natural things that are in it, so just keep that in mind. Now, if you are vegan and you don't want to use honey, whatever you would use for a syrup in place of honey, you can go ahead and use that. I think there's some plant-based thickeners like this. I just like honey because of its health benefits and because it is natural. And I have a friend who has an apiary, and I know how much he cares for his bees. So he's more protective of his bees than he is his house. So, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship. They actually produce more honey than they need. So they get plenty, the queen gets plenty, and there's plenty left over. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So anyhow, I hope that video was a little bit useful. I know it seems a little scattered. I'm sorry. The phone's buzzing. I've got 2 more dogs I got to take out and feed, and I'm trying to get this done before Harold comes home and interrupts me because he did start his new job this week. So anyhow, thank you all so much for watching, and blessed be.